Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to have a retired senior Indian Air Force officer now active in civilian life with us. We have with us Dr. S.N. Mishra. I'm sure he will tell us many interesting and powerful things. So let's listen to him. Over to you, Dr. Mishra.
First of all, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to you, Professor Mathur, for giving me this platform of very interesting bitpads which we just discussed. And especially, I want to talk about something that is very close to my heart, and that is climate change. And this is because not it's a hot topic these days, but because I have been immersed in climate sciences for the past 40 years. But before diving into that, I'll just make a small introduction because they are at the diverse the my work and the where I was coming from. So I am Group Captain S.N. Mishra, a proud veteran of Indian Air Force. After completing my post graduation in physics, I joined the IAF in 1986 as a pilot officer in a meteorological branch of the Indian Air Force. And to be honest, I had no clue what this branch was about or what its role was in the Air Force. Just joined because it was a job, a commissioned officer I was becoming in a ground duty branch. So I just joined, and it was good that time getting a job of a commissioned officer. No. So that is how it happened. But soon enough, I learned that this field revolves around core sciences, focusing on atmospheric physics, dynamics of forecast weather. So in military aviation, the weather forecasting is a very critical role it has, because a minor mistake in your forecast at any point of time can have huge consequences, because military aviation aircraft, basically fighter aircraft, they have a very low endurance. So within 2 hours, if your forecast is right or wrong, and in some old kind of aircraft, it used to be half an hour. So if your visibility has not improved, if your clouds have suddenly come, that aircraft has got no means to land at the airport and it has to eject. So that's the kind of criticality you have in military aviation. So that is how I realized that the meteorological forecast has got such a complex role, an important role in the uh, Air Force. So this was my beginning. But throughout my career, I had the opportunity to serve across India. So you name in India, any place, any region, I have been there. And I was also posted to one posting at the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. While I was in service, I also pursued my PhD degree, and I was heavily involved in building capacity building in the Indian Air Force. And one of my most significant contributions have been in the Indian Air Force is the climatic analysis of the high altitude terrain, especially Ladakh and neighboring regions, and by doing that, enhancing the war potential of the Indian Air Force. And this is one of the important aspects that the entire strategies in the Indian Air Force of the war in the high altitude region I have changed. So also a great pride I take in the saying that I was also involved in optimizing a suitable weather window for Balakot Air Strike, which happened on 26th February 2019. So I was one of the key person, and especially weather plays a crucial role in any of the operations. And that window, I was the one, along with my team, optimized that window, and which was hugely successful.
Okay, wonderful.
So this was and there are all wars. I have been very integral part of the operations at any time during my this thing, and because of my and most of the time it is the uh, how weather will impact, how weather can be changed into no uh, a critical component of the multiplier for the flying operations. That is how I looked at always weather, how weather can be utilized that way. So this is what has been very satisfying and important for me. And I have been at various positions throughout my career, whether it is capacity building, it is inspections, it is the policy making, at various roles across the country. I have served in glacier, Ladakh, in Northeast, in southern India, in desert, in Western India. So it's a 35 years career, no, spanning 35 years in the Air Force is a huge this thing. So after retirement in 2021, superannuation, I felt it is a natural to me that being a climate science person, I'll dive into climate change. And that is how climate change and its associated risks, given my background in climate sciences. And around the same time, what has happened that while I was going through the climate change, in 2021 August, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has released its sixth assessment report in August 21. This report, packed with scientific evidence, was described by the UN Secretary General as a code red for humanity. Mm-hmm. And this was the time that it really highlighted the scale of the crisis we are facing. Humanity has never confronted such an existential crisis, actually, in the entire human system. So this was the urgency where I understood, and this urgency propelled me to work towards addressing the climate crisis and promoting sustainable development goals. So since then, I am advocating for a strong action on both climate mitigation and adaptation. And at the same time, since I am a practitioner, I am a man from climate science, the Terry School of Advanced Studies, formerly known as Terry University, the Energy Resource Institute, Tata Resource Institute earlier, and now it is the Energy Resource Institute University. I am a visiting professor and teaching full suites of courses: MSc Climate Science and Policy, MSc Environmental Resource, MBA Sustainability Management, Sustainable Development Policy. All courses I'm teaching, especially climate change mitigation, adaptation, greenhouse gas inventory accounting, and net zero strategies, which is so important today. Along with this, I'm also engaged with multiple institutions now, whether PSUs, corporate entities, and basically to make them understand the implications of climate change to the planet. So for humanity, for business, and for the planet Earth. Now, why this is so important? Because climate change, everybody talks about climate change. The good news is that everybody is talking about climate change, and the bad news is also that people are only talking about climate change. But what is interesting is that, sir, this is very surprising that every year we have World Economic Conference in Davos. And since 2012, there is a survey, Globe Scan Risk Survey, which is conducted. Around 1,000 top leadership across business leadership across the world, they are asked by the survey, which is the risk for the businesses which you are looking at is the prime risk in next decade. Surprisingly, the climate change, failure of climate change action has been rated as the very first risk, which needs to be urgently tackled by all. And this is continuously coming from 2012. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth risk, continuously all coming as climate change risk, extreme weather events, biodiversity loss. These are the risks which are coming continuously. So that means climate change, everybody understands that there is a risk of climate change. Now, climate change is a global issue, sir. It is a global issue. It doesn't respect borders. And what is important is that any kind of response we need. We need to have a global response, because unlike if you have air pollution at your locality, now it will impact you, it will impact around you, but it will not impact the entire planet. Maybe in the wind direction where it is going, like Punjab paddy crops, when they are burnt, they are impacting because the winds are flowing from that direction to Delhi, national capital region. So it will impact this and some part, but it will not impact, say, South India. It will not impact, say, New York. But climate change, the greenhouse gases are the one, when they are emitted into the atmosphere, they get diffused with the atmosphere. And if anybody is polluting a North Pole, the tropics will get impacted, the South Pole will get impacted. So it's a transboundary problem. It's a transnational issue. So the response to climate change has to come from the global community initially, because global community is the one who has to understand that everybody, each action needs, is responsible for this. And that's why we need a globally coordinated reducing greenhouse gas is so critical. So what I do in my work, I am teaching as one part, but along with this, I am also engaging students at school level whenever I get a chance or somebody calls me. I am also engaging with business community, the business heads, professionals, and the academics, because as I said, climate change, everybody talks about, everybody understands also, but there are a lot of myths around climate change. Climate change is basically, somebody, confuses with global warming. Somebody gets confused. Climate change and global warming is same. Global warming is the rise in temperature, and the greenhouse gases basically trap the infrared radiations and thereby increasing the atmospheric temperature. And finally, the temperature is leading to multiple problems, and that is what is climate change, whether it is sea rise because of melting of glaciers. So, and the biggest threat out of this is because of the extreme weather events, what we call it thunderstorms. Now, as you can see, we are entering from one extreme weather to another extreme weather, and this is across the world, same thing is happening. This reminds me, in 2022, in early March, India had a heat wave, severe heat wave conditions in early March, and that has finally, impacted the entire wheat crop. It has reduced India's wheat production by 10%, where India has announced that it will feed the world, because that was the simultaneous time when Ukraine crisis also had occurred. And suddenly they realized that their grains, their wheat crop is damaged, and they have stopped exporting wheat to all countries. And that is what happens. So your national ambitions today can be your food security as at stake, your energy security is at stake, your water security is at stake. So has made all our problems, whether it's food security, energy security, or water security, much more complicated. It adds a whole new layer to the already existing problems. So there are already problems, there is already reduction, but the climate change has made it further complication. So we need to understand this, how it is impacting. And the one and the problem with climate change is that what is the problem is that the one who's not the polluter, or the one who's not the culprit, is the victim.
Yes,
Because
yes, very much so.
and not only that, sir, he's not the victim. The victim will be the future generations. They have no say.
Yes.
What kind of planet we will leave for them? The children, the great grandchildren, those who are coming to this planet.
Yes.
They have no say in this whole discourse and discussions. Those
no.
we have started seeing climate crisis in our life itself, but those who will be coming after us, they'll have even more complex problems.
Yes.
And so that is the fight that there was a extreme heat wave conditions here in northwest India. Delhi this year had extreme heat. Actually, if you have Makkah, while same time there was people going to Makkah for their pilgrimage, and there are 1,000 people died in Makkah itself
True.
during this
Yes,
year
in the heat
because of
wave. Yes.
heat stroke, because of
Yes.
heat stroke.
Yes.
So that is how it is happening. So this will impact everybody. There is a huge heat, no, uh, wave is here. Day is very hot. What I'll do? I have got good adaptive capacity. I'll increase my, AC. I'll decrease my AC's temperature. I'll run 8 hours. I'll run 10 hours, 12 hours. But what is for the poor man who's
Yeah.
staying outside?
Yes.
His work hours impacted.
Yes.
He doesn't have anything to cool himself, neither day
Right.
nor night. So the problem is impacting both those who are vulnerable. And similar situation is when we talk about global north and global south.
Yeah.
The global north has got good adaptive capacity and they are still polluting. Their per ton emissions are very high when we compare to places like India. Though we are the third largest polluter of the world, but if we go by per capita pollution in tons, we are around 110th in the world.
Yes.
Now, do we need it?
Yeah.
Yes, India still needs one bulb at least every household.
Yes.
India needs one house. So that
Yes.
is where the problem is. So how do
Yeah.
we meet those developmental needs vis-a-vis
Mm.
the climate
Mm.
change? So that is
Yeah.
what is happening. So so I am generally, advocating all and working all across fronts, whatever and very important for people to adapt above all the personal sustainability. Whenever I talk to people कि भाई
Mm.
नो बूंद बूंद से घड़ा भरता है, यहाँ बूंद बूंद से ही खाली होगा घड़ा जो भरा हुआ है
Mm.
ग्रीन हाउस गैस emissions का.
Mm.
So that is how it is happening.
Okay.
So what I want to sir say ki this is what the stories I am working on that, and I am being called at the various forums. You will find me mostly, talking
Yeah.
somewhere, but mostly talking in these domains. And I'm also involved with a lot of corporates for doing climate risk analysis for those corporates. And any thing which needs to be, done with the climate, I'm involved in it. Nature-based solutions, everything. So to conclude, I'll say that everyone has a role to play,
Yeah.
no matter how small it may be.
Okay.
It's like the story of the birds, that when uh, a bird saw a fire, it carried water in its beak to try and put it out. Someone asked the bird, how can that tiny drop of water make a difference? The bird replied, my efforts might not have a huge impact, but I want to be counted among those who tried to put out the fire,
Right.
not just stood by and watched. So that is where I see that the spirit we all need to adopt in facing the climate. We all need to play our part and we all need to come together. The global policy level is one part. Because the global will have problems. See, the response to global issues in climate change will depend upon the geopolitics of that particular country. Now, today, you see the moment climate crisis emerged, the moment Ukraine war emerged, France has they have fired their old coal plant because they don't have energy, so they can't let their people die of cold.
Mm.
So that will be ensured by the geopolitics and the local no response.
Yeah.
But whatever we can do, we must do, because this is a crisis. And now we can see in terms of extreme weather events everywhere, there is the same
Yeah.
events are becoming more intense, more this thing. So we are basically looking at that. The personal sustainability is a very important aspect as an individual, how to reduce our carbon footprints.
But
So
thank you
this,
so much. It's very, very impressive and very, very interesting. Let me but first not leave you from talking about your Air Force days. Climate change, yes, but for the viewers, I want a personal account of what the mood was like in the Balakot strikes before, during the preparation, during the strike, and after the strike. Just give us the personal feelings that were there, because we read official accounts, but you have a personal feeling and you can tell us what the people with you were thinking. I want to get that from you first.
okay, so See, the point is that it's an operation which is so important for all of us. We had the mandate to do that. Okay, and what I would say that
How
we
long before the operation was it known to you that there would be such an operation?
uh, just what we had the notice post Pulwama attack. The next day, I knew that there will be a
Okay. All
because
right.
I had iterated though that window for 15 days.
Yes.
Because you need that much of time to do your intelligence, to see where are the people, how to mobilize resources, what kind of exactly targeting you have to do. So when you have to do, when can you do it? Can you give it a surprise kind of a thing? So that when they don't expect, it is something like no uh, uh, Normandy landings.
Yes.
It is something like Normandy landings. Weather played an important role in Normandy landings. The
Yes.
Germans thought that there is a huge storm which is coming, and this is the time
Yes.
that these forces will never come. And there was a gap which was utilized by that commandment officer. I was also a commandment officer. So their commandment was Royal Commandment Officer, Group Captain James Stack. He has that found out that window, and he said this is the window where we can do this Normandy landing. And by the way, Germans had gone for a picnic at that point of time when they actually landed up there, the entire 5,000 landings there.
Yes.
So that is how it has happened. So we just got that. I think the political this thing has given mandate second day itself.
Okay.
So our chief came and he gave us the dictate. He's decided that we have to do this, and so I got that same 15 days, and that's why precisely after 16 days we did that. So second day it was decided that there is going to be a Air Force was given task. So now it is for the Air Force to decide when to, how to, and what to respond.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, but what was the mood? I'm not interested in the logistic.
Mood of whose?
Yours
The
and all who are preparing.
yours mood. We got a task in hand. See, this was a this kind of a opportunity when you are in Fauj, when you are in a Air Force, you are a soldier. You look for these kind of occasions that they must come in your life once.
Yes.
You rise to the occasion. Yeah.
Yes.
That time, the soldier, how soldier dies on a front, because he get these kind of chances. Otherwise, who pays for them? Who pays them for no dying on a front? But it is that chance he gets in life. The whole life he is trained, and to do that one day business correctly when the country needs it, when country has given its order. So
Okay.
we were elated. We were 15 days underground actually.
Okay.
So,
And
so I
when
did
they
not.
came, when the pilots came back, what was the mood in the Air Force?
So see, the pilot when came, it was successful because these operations are conducted at multi-level.
Yes.
Okay, that we are at the command control at one place.
Yes.
There are from 10 different places the formations are going. So they land at some different place. They have come from 700 kilometers away. They landed again, went back to 500. These are all pre-planned. So obviously, this is for everybody's lifetime.
Okay.
No,
Wonderful. All right. Great. So
remembrance.
it was
So
a crowning
yeah,
part of your life, right?
yeah. It was is always no. It brings that kind of whenever you are at front and you get the right signals. It is an amazing for a soldier.
Yes.
Every commander looks for that.
Yes.
Can we make a mark in history?
Yes. All right. Wonderful. So thank you for that. And turning to climate change, I'm always looking these days for people who talk about adaptation. There are not many. And you are one of the first. You are a professor and you are teaching at Terry. I've had several students from Terry here. They come regularly to do Vidpeds. So, and I'm familiar with Terry for long years, just as a backup. You know, uh, I was involved in renewable energy since 1990
Okay.
and worldwide and leading the whole movement for rural solar. So
Okay.
I designed the first commercial solar rooftop project in the world. in Indonesia in 1994-95. The president of Indonesia inaugurated it. We copied that into Sri Lanka. We copied it into Bangladesh. And today, Bangladesh has 7 million families with rooftop solar in rural areas. There are only 35 million families in Bangladesh. 7 million are with rooftop solar. It's one of the world's most successful programs. The economic, and of course, we have to subsidize those people. And my key contribution was how to do the subsidy. And of course, at that time, nobody had done commercial rooftop solar, where the private sector would install and we would subsidize the private sector. They would have to meet our technical standards. My colleague and I, we wrote those technical standards. We saw so many light bulbs so that we could write the technical standards. Of course, we moved to LEDs later. But so since then, and then in Africa, I have traveled extensively through rural Africa, going to places that don't have electricity within a 50-mile radius, spending nights in those places, trying to get electricity there. So, but for me now, mitigation on solar and wind, that is last century's innovation. Without innovation now. What is the innovation needed now is how do we adapt to it now that the reports are very clear. As you rightly said, our generation is suffering, but future will suffer some more. So how can we adapt our economy so that the suffering and pain are less? And it is, I'll give you an example. We are saying, okay, reduce coal. We are saying we'll do it 30 years later, fine. 25 years later. But the coal mines are in the poorest part of India. And they are the source of income for those people. If we say we won't use that coal, our solar and wind and others are great, now how will they make their money? This is part of adaptation. As an economist, I think.
Yes. It is also part of just transition.
Yes, just transition.
How you do just transition. How do you do just transition? But right. Sir, my understanding is now that no, the coal, any project which is put up now will run for 30 to 35 years. That's the life of a coal project. But now a lot of emphasis on just transition is in the sense that the all coal mines which are there, which are all abundant coal mines rather. So now it has to be done to what you rightly said, all those poor people, their children, they are dependent upon these coals. Now their entire ecosystem revolves around those coal mines. So can we do it? The government has to really put a lot of cost into it to take these people out and bring them into the skill levels with the green energy needs.
Okay. So I'm glad you are doing it. You are a person on the ground and you have a lot of influence on the young people's minds at Delhi. And so I'm glad that you are talking about adaptation. That's all I want to say at this point. I'm so happy that because most of the young people, they talk mitigation still.
No, mitigation is one part. Mitigation is the root cause of the problem. So that has to be mitigated. Yes, one. But even if you mitigate today, I said you go net zero today.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're not spending any of the sending any GHGs into the atmosphere. You are at par. Still, you have around 400 gigatons extra CO2 into the environment.
Yes.
That CO2 gradually, when it goes down, it will take another 40 years minimum. So 40 years, the kind of extreme weather, it will continue to fuel these disastrous extreme weather events. So you have to guard. Around 4 generations, they still will suffer, sir. So adaptation has to go.
What I'm saying is, I'm so happy to hear it because most people are not aware that it is not enough to do wind and solar. And one point I want to make on that is that from an economics perspective, when we do mitigation, we are mitigating a problem that has been caused by others also, right? So this is what economists call as an externality. But when we do adaptation, all the benefits go to us. On
Yes.
mitigation, the benefits are shared with others, right? Because we are doing the mitigation, we are reducing GHG, and that helps not only us, but others. But any money that we put in adaptation benefits only us.
Sir, I have a point. You have a very right point, but it is not. No, I'd say even mitigation. See, decarbonization. When I call it decarbonization, I'll
Right.
say this way.
Yeah.
I'll say mitigation instead of mitigation. I'll say decarbonization.
Right.
Why decarbonization and the economics in climate change has come because of what you said is say externality, negative externality.
Yes.
That somebody is unknowingly he's polluting the environment and he's selling that product to everybody else and making money out of it. So that externality, when it is incorporated into the cost of the product,
Right.
then in the form of carbon tax,
Yes.
that carbon tax go into mitigation and just transition and everything
Correct.
else
Okay,
also.
good. All right, good. Thank you so much for this. I think we have had enough discussion on these issues. I just want to ask you, do you want to talk about something else and add something else here?
Uh,
Any tips for young
that's it,
people?
sir.
Any tips for young people?
Yes, sir. I think that's very important. By my no tips to young people would be that today is a different kind. It's not an environment where we were brought up, and we had a very few areas to focus. And so there are opportunities today, and there are problems, complex problems also. So we are finding solutions to those problems. So what I will tell young people that choose a field which you are passionate about. You must choose a field which you're passionate about. So work towards that. And you focus on your passion, but at the same time, also see what the other people are doing. That it's a multidisciplinary world today. One problem cannot be solved by one individual. It is collaborate. You understand the other's point of view. So multidisciplinary world today, multidisciplinary issues you'll have to understand. By one problem, only understanding your problem, you will still work in silos. You can't find a solution. So that is one. You can connect dots when you are focus on your subject and link with others, understand their point of view. And lastly, the up your skills which you think that they will take you beyond 5 years, it's not possible.
No.
So keep upgrading your skills every 5 years. Your existing skills will become, I'll say, not redundant. They will continue to remain your base, but they will not help you in solving the problems of the society.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir.
So I think
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. I should call you Professor Mishra now, not Dr. Mishra. You are teaching at TERI, one of the top universities in India. So you are a professor. So Professor Mishra, thank you so much for this fascinating conversation. I hope the Bendlist viewers will benefit from it. Let's say bye for the moment. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. So bye till then. And I will talk to you.
Once again,
yes.
Once again, thank you very much, sir. And it's been wonderful session with you.
Okay.
Thank
wonderful.
you so much.